शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्ज सम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹர. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாவிவ சம்பிரக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே ஜகதः பிதரौ வந்தே பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வரौ. ஸ்ரீ பார்வதி பரமேஸ்வராभ्यां நமः. कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्तिव्रजोह्यं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീരക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചനാനിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മന്യനെ കുമ്പീടേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കുന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I don't know how many will join today, but anyway, we'll see. We'll do at least some portion of the class. So maybe Vijay and Anita, can you all do half of Dasakam 8?
Sure, sir.
Vijay, Nika first parilla, like.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do 1 to 7. Okay. Yeah.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Dashakam 8. Pralaya Varnanam. Jagat Srishti Prakara Varnanam cha. एवं तावत् प्राकृत प्रक्षयान्ते ब्राह्मे कल्पे ह्यादिमे लप्तजन्मा ब्रह्मा भूयस्त्वत्त एवाभ्यवेतान् सृष्टिं चक्रे पूर्वकल्पोपमानां सोऽयं चतुर्युह सहस्र नितान्यहानि तावन्निदाच्च रजनीर्बहुशो निनाय नित्रात्यसौ त्वयि निलीय समं स्वसृष्टैर्हि नैमित्तिकप्रलय माहुरो दोष्य रात्रिम् अश्मातृशां पुनरहर्मुगकृद्यदुल्यां सृष्टिं करोद्यनुदिनं सभवत् प्रसादात् प्राक् ब्रह्मकल्पजनुषां च प्रायुषां तु सप्त प्रबोधन समास्ति तदा विसृष्टिः.
Vijay, in the third line, prag brahma asad, prag brahma kalpa. Third line.
प्राक् ब्रह्मकल्प.
Brahma la, brahma, double A mari, brahma kalpa.
Okay.
Okay. And then the fourth line, the supta, first word supta. I think you said something else slightly different, but supta.
I said sapta. Sorry.
Yeah. Supta
prabodhana samasti tada visrishtihi.
Yeah, supta, SU.
Supta.
Yeah.
Panchacha tapta madunasta vayortha rupam ekam parartha madivruta hi varthate shau tatrantya ratri janitan khadayami bhuman pachatina vadarane cha bhavat vilashan dinavashane sarojayonihi sushubdi kamastvai sannimilye jaganti vajjadaram samiyuhu tade tamekarna vamasya vishvam tavaida veshe panirajisheshe jalaika seshe bhuvanesma seshe ananta santranubhava swarupah स्वयोग निद्रा परिमुद्रिदात्मा कालाग्य शक्तिं प्रलयावसाने प्रबोधयेत्यादिसा किलादौ त्वया प्रशुद्धं.
Second line, try it again, right? Prabodhayetya dishatha.
Okay. प्रबोधयेत्या दिशदा किलादौ त्वया प्रशुद्धं परिशुद्ध शक्तिव्रजेन तत्रा किल जीवदाम्ना चतुर्युगानां.
You can stop. You can stop there. I think Anita will do the rest. Thanks.
Okay.
चतुर्युगानां सहस्रमेवं त्वयि प्रसुप्ते पुनरद्वितीये कालाख्यशक्तिः प्रथमप्रबुद्धा प्रबोधयत्वां किल विश्वनाथ.
Anita, and the Shaktihi and the F sound will come. Shaktif, the third line. And then the last line is Prabodhayatvam.
Okay. Kalakya Shakti Pradama Prabhutta Prabodhayatvam Kila Vishwanada Vibhutya Chatvam Jalakarpasayin Vilokya Lokan Akilan Pralinan Teshvesha Shutmatmataya Nijantaha Stiteshu Vishveshu Tadatatradrishtim.
And the third line, Nijantas is sound. Instead of that Nijantaha, it becomes is. Okay.
Yes, Nijantas. Tatastwatiya Taina Birantad Uchantidam Kinchana Divya Padmam Nilina Nishesha Padarthamala Shankesha Rubam Mukulayamanam Tade Tadampo Ruhakutmalam te Kalebarate Pate Prarudam Bahirniritam Paridis Spurastabihi Swatama Birtvantamalam Nayakrutantad
Nyakrintat. Yeah, and then second line on the Toya Pate. Second line. Okay.
Toya Pate. Where is that, sir?
On the second line, Kalebarate. Toya Pate. Toya.
Kalebharatoya pate prarodam. Okay. Sambullapatre nitaram vichitre tasmin bhavat viryatrute saroje sabatma janma vitira virasit swayam praputta kila vedarashihi vedarashihi asmin paratman nanupatmakalpe त्वमित्तमुत्तापित पद्मयोनिः अनन्तभूमा मम रोहिराशिं निरुन्ति वातालयवास विष्णु.
And the fourth line, right? Like we said, and that roga rashim, and then you put the nirundi and then a comma. So ananta bhuma mama roga rashim nirundi, and then a pause.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So just try that line.
Sure, sir. Ananta bhuma mama rohirashim nirundi vatalaya vasha Vishnu. Krishna Paramani.
Okay, so we'll continue with the Shakam 9 today. I think we finished 6, so we'll start from 7. So Mridulaji, you can be a student, and Sachi Garu, can you be a student first half?
Sure.
Okay.
We finished 9 and 7. We should start from 8.
Oh, we finished 7 also. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so we'll start from 8 today. Okay. Let's get this ready. All right. So 8, okay. Labaswa bhuvanatrahi rachana dakshatam akshatam grihana madanugraham kurutapascha bhuyo vide bhavatmakila sadhani maicha bhaktiratyutkate tyudivya giramadhatha mudita chetasam vedasam. So we're seeing in this 9th Dashakam, right? We were seeing the first day of the 51st year of Brahma. And what happened on the 50th year's last night, right? The day last night of Brahma. So we saw how Brahma then came, he came from the Nabhi of the Lord. First, Brahma comes and then he sees nothing around. And then he's interested in exploring where I came from. And he starts going through it to find the source of where he has come from. And like at one point, he had to give up because he wasn't able to find it. So he comes back to where he was started from. And then he was meditating. And this time when he was meditating, he finally saw the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lying at the bottom from whose Nabi the entire Brahmandam had come. So Brahma got that vision. And when Brahma got that vision, he also was able to see that how he does a prayer in the 7th stanza also, where he goes and says, I realize how at the night, which means at the end of it, everything had got absorbed into you and how everything has now come out of you. So Brahma understands what has actually happened. And he does the stuti that was happening in the 7th stanza. So anyway, so in this 8th one, since Brahma is praying, saying that I do this every kalpa, right? Like we do work every morning. I repeat this every kalpa, but I still need your blessings because Brahma is going to now start creating in the next Dashakam. He's going to start creating Narada and Rudra and all of these people are going to come. So he needs to have the power to be able to create all these people. All these people have to come from Brahma, right? So he needs to get the appropriate blessing. So that's a prayer that Brahma Stuti that Brahma does. And for which, then of course in stanza 8, Narayana is blessing Brahma, saying that, you will have the appropriate, whatever is required for you to create, you will have that. And then he, blesses Brahma. So Brahma can then begin the process of creation in this kalpa, Shvetavaraha kalpa that we are in. Because like I said, everything from now is going to happen in this day of Brahma. All the avatarams we are going to see is going to happen in this day of Brahma. So this is kind of kicking off that process. So Labaswa Bhuvanatrayi. Bhuvanatrayi means all the 3 worlds. Rachana, Dakshatam, Akshatam, comma. So that line is continuous. Grihana, Madanugraham, comma. Kuru tapascha bhuyo vide. Labaswa bhuvanatrahi rachana dakshatam akshatam grihana madanugraham kuru tapascha bhuyo vidhe.
लभस्व भुवनत्रये रचन दक्षतामक्षतां गृहाणामदनुग्रहं कुरु तपश्च भूयो विधे लभस्व भुवनत्रये रचन रक्षतामक्षतां गृहाणामदनुग्रहं कुरु तपश्च भूयो विधे.
Grihana, I think you said Grihana, the second
Okay.
line.
Okay.
लभस्वभुवनत्रयीरचनदक्षतामक्षतां गृहाणमदनुग्रहं कुरु तपश्च भूयो विधे लभस्वभुवनत्रयीरचनदक्षतामक्षतां गृहाणमदनुग्रहं कुरु तपश्च भूयो विधे
Bhavat Vakila Sadhani, comma, Mayi Cha Bhaktirat Yutkate. You first put a plus at the end of that line. So Bhaktirat Yutkatet Yudirya. So there's a it which comes in the next line, so it will get joined with it. So Bhaktirat Yutkatet Yudirya Giramadadaha. You put a visarga, you won't have it. Put a visarga and comma. Giramadadaha Mudita Chetasam Vedasam. So you see this time, you know, he is able to what do you call? Yeah, he has information. I think I already said that. Bhavatma kila sadhani maicha bhaktiratyutkatet yudirya girama dadhaha mudita chetasam vedasam.
भवत्वखिल साधने मयि च भक्तिरत्युत्कटेत्युदीर्य गिरमादधाः मुदितचेतसं वेधसं भवत्वखिल साधने मयि च भक्तिरत्युत्कटेत्युदीर्य गिरमादधाः मुदितचेतसं वेधसम्.
भवत्वखिलसाधनी मयि च भक्तिरत्युत्कटेत्युदीरगिरमाददाः मुदितचेतसं वेधसं भवत्वखिलसाधनी मयि च भक्तिरत्युत्कटेत्युदीर्यगिरमाददाः मुदितचेतसं वेधसम्.
That's a line. Shatam kritatapastataha sakhalu divya samvatsaran avapya cha tapobhalam matibalam cha purvadikam udiksha kilakampitam payasi pankajam vayunha bhavat bhala vijrumbhitaha pavana phatasi pitavan. So again, now when Brahma is now beginning, is ready to get started. So he does more penance because he has to get all the necessary blessings and spiritual energy. So if you see what happened the first time, if you remember again, is the Lord himself went, he took all the elements and then he put his own energy to then create the Brahmanda. No, this time that is not required because, you know, it's happening every time. So the basic elements are there. So before Brahma can start the process of creation, he needs to have control over the whole material universe, right? So what it says here is the universe was just recently destroyed or 100 years back, or, you know, like in Brahma's night, it was destroyed, right? The Kalpa. So things are not right, right? There's water everywhere. And we saw how the water became fire, fire became air, and it all merged into space, right? So all of that is there. So Brahma had to first get control over all of this material energy. So that's what he does more tapas. So he has better control over the material energy, because from the next one, he then starts creating or distributing the seeds of the universe in the next stanza. Shratam krita tapastataha, comma, sa khalu divya samvatsaran. Put in at the end of that line. Samvatsaran. Next line, the na becomes a. Avapya cha tapobhalam, comma, matibalam cha purvadikam. Shatam kritatapastataha sakhalu divya samvatsarane avapya cha tapobalam matibalam cha purvadikam.
शतं कृततपास्ततः स खलु दिव्य संवत्सरान् अवाप्य च तपोबलं मतिबलं च पूर्वाधिकम्. शतं कृततपास्ततः स खलु दिव्य संवत्सरान् अवाप्य च तपोबलं मतिबलं च पूर्वाधिकम्.
शतं कृततपास्ततः स खलु दिव्यसंवत्सरान् अवाप्य च तपोबलं मदिबलं च पूर्वाधिकं शतं कृततपास्ततः स खलु दिव्यसंवत्सरान् अवाच्य च तपोबलं मदिबलं च पूर्वाधिकम्.
The second line, first word, avapya, ip and ya, avapya.
Avapya.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Udikshya kila kampitam, comma, payasi pankajam vayuna, comma, bhavat bala bijrumbhitaha, comma, pavana patasi pitavan. See, Jesus says it's because it's a poetry also. He says he drank all the water and the air so that the creation process can start. Essentially, what he's doing is getting control of the Panchabhudam. He's getting better control so he can start the process of creation. Udikshya kilakampitam payasi pankajam vayunha bhavat bala vijrumbhitaha pavanapatasi pitavan.
उदीक्ष्य किल कम्पितं पयसि पङ्कजं वायुना भवद्बलविजृम्भितः पवनपाथसि पीतवान्. उदीक्ष्य किल कम्पितं पयसि पङ्कजं वायुना भवद्बलविजृम्भितः पवनपाथसि पीतवान्.
उदीक्ष्य किल कम्पितं पयसि पङ्कजं वायुना भवत्फल विजृम्भितः पवनपातसि पीतवान्. उदीक्ष्य किल कम्पितं पयसि पङ्कजं वायुना भवत्फल विजृम्भितः पवनपातसि पीतवान्.
That's a 10. Tavaiva kripaya punah sarasijena tenaiva saha prakalpya bhuvanatrahim prabhavrite praja nirmitau tatha vida kripa bharo gurumarutpuradhishwara tomashu paripahimam gurudayokshitairikshtaihi. So then just tavaiva kripaya, again only because of your grace, because otherwise without your grace Narayana nothing is going to move. So only with your grace and getting your blessings, the beginning of every day, Brahma is now beginning to start the process of creation because he now has the knowledge, he has the approval, he has the blessings. So first, the difference again this time, the best example that I could see or explain how Brahma does it, right, is to say the first time around there were no seeds also. Like if you think of gardening, not that I'm a gardener, my wife does it, but if you think of general gardening, if you don't even have the seeds, you can't do anything about it. The farmer cannot grow things, right? Here, this time around, like we said, from the Nabhi of the Lord, a bud emerged, right? I talked about it. How it had everything which had gone into the Lord come out again, but was, however, in Sukshmam form. So that's what came up every day of Brahma, this day of Brahma also. All Brahma had to do was he had to take what was already there. And the simple example is just like how a farmer takes existing seeds and sprinkles it around in the farm. That's kind of the work that Brahma had. He doesn't have to create the seeds itself. That was what the Lord had already done the first time. So similarly, all the necessary elements for creation of the 14 worlds and all the people which are going to come later, Brahma had the core essence of everything that was required. So with that process, he then, and with your blessings, he then started the process of creation, right? And first, of course, the 14 worlds come. Next, from next Dasakam, all the people and everybody are going to start coming. So you, O Guru Marpuradishwara, O Lord of Guruvayu, please give on me, protect me with your extreme compassion, right? With Guru Dayokshitai. So which means like with deep compassion, you please eradicate all the ailments. You just help Brahma begin the process of creation. Similarly, you please bless me also. So with that, this Dasakam comes to an end. Tavaiva kripaya punaha. So the is that is there, you put a visarga comma, punaha. Sarasijena tenaiva saha, comma, prakalpya bhuvanatrayim, comma, pravavrite praja nirmitau. So then the various beings comes, which is going to come only later, but tavaiva kripaya punah sarasijena tenaiva saha prakalpya bhuvanatrayim pravavrite praja nirmitau.
तवैव कृपया पुनः सरसिजेन तेनैव सह प्रकल्प्य भुवनत्रयीं प्रववृते प्रजा निर्मितौ तवैव कृपया पुनः सरसिजेन तेनैव सह प्रकल्प्य भुवनत्रयीं प्रववृते प्रजा निर्मितौ
तवैव कृपया पुनः सरसिजेन तेनैव सह प्रकल्प्य भुवनत्रयीं प्रववृते प्रजा निर्मितौ तवैव कृपया पुनः सरसिजेन तेनैव सह प्रकल्प्य भुवनत्रयीं प्रववृते प्रजा निर्मितौ
तथा विध कृपाबरो गुरु मरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरु dayokshitair ikshitaihi. It's easy to break that re that you see there into ir and e. Then you can say it. Guru dayokshitair ikshitaihi. तथा विद कृपाभरो गुरुमरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरुदयोक्षितैर् ईक्षितैः.
तथाविध कृपाभरो गुरुमरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरुदयोक्षितैरीक्षितैः तथाविध कृपाभरो गुरुमरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरुदयोक्षितैरीक्षितैः
तथाविध कृपाभरो गुरुमरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरुदयोक्षितैरीक्षितैः. Is it okay if I combinedly read it?
Yeah, if you're able to, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. तथाविध कृपापरो गुरुमरुत्पुराधीश्वर त्वमाशु परिपाहि मां गुरुदयोक्षितैरीक्षितैः.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Completes 9. So Dashakam 10 is Srishti Bheda Varna. So till now, the only two personalities who we spoke about were, of course, Narayana and Guru Ayyappan we spoke about, and we spoke about Brahma, right? We didn't speak about anybody else because nobody else was there. So now only all the others are going to start coming from this Dashakam, right? So this is talking about the variety of creation, who all, in what sequence beings come out, right? And like I said, even before also, right? Till the end of this Dashakam, I think till the end, I think the 10th stanza of this Dashakam is where the concept of gender comes. So till then, there is no concept of gender. It's only going to come little late towards the end of this Dashakam. So if I am saying he or something like that, it is just for easiness, okay? So there's no gender. They are all gods and demigods who are going to come. So they don't have any gender as such, okay? So stanza 1. वैकुण्ठवर्धित बलोत भवत्प्रसादात् अम्भोजयो निरसजत् किल जीवदेहान् स्तास्नूनि भूरुहमयानि तथा तिरश्चां जातिं मनुष्य निवहानपि देवभेदान्. So it first gives a quick summary before we get into the details. It gives a very quick summary of how and what sequence Brahma does create, or creation itself happens. So it talks about first he has to make sure the necessary foundations are ready, which means all the vegetation, things that don't move, anything which is fixed, all of that has to come into place. So that's what happened first. So then as the development happened, it talks about, how it starts with a species of life which are extremely foolish and ignorant. They don't have any knowledge, and they can only know what they want purely by the concept of smell, right? So they can smell and they can eat, and that's all they can do. They don't remember anything within themselves, right? That was kind of one species. Then as they start going up, then they had more species who have knowledge of hunger and thirst, but then they don't have any other acquired knowledge, right? We all can acquire knowledge. So the species who were there did not acquire any knowledge. They just knew about hunger and thirst, and they were able to survive, and they only cared about sleeping and eating. That is the next species. And then it talks about how the human beings were the next level in terms of intelligence. And then there are the demigods and everybody which comes, which they have a lot of names to those. So they call them Gandharvas, they call them Yakshas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas. There are different kinds of maturity of the demigods. So all of the demigods are of higher intelligence. It talks about how the intelligence goes from pure vegetation to all the way up to the top of the demigods. It says, with your grace, O Lord, Brahma, who's the source of all of this creation, eventually triggers the process through which all of this creation happens, and he is responsible for everything starting from vegetation to the demigods who are going to come. And they're all going to come in a different sequence, but at least in terms of intelligence, that is the sequence of hierarchy of intelligence, right? So Vaikuntha Vardhita Balota Bhavat Prasadat. Put the it at the end of that line, comma. Next line, the da becomes a. Ambojayo Nirasrujat. You can't break it. The only way to break it is Ambojayo Nir Asrujat, but it will become difficult. So Ambojayo Nirasrujat Kila Jiva Dehan. This one we'll try to do 4 lines. It will be easy for the tune. Tasnuni Guru Hamayani Tata Tirasham, put a plus, Jatim Manushya Nivahanapi Deva Bhedan. Vaikuntha Vardhita Balota Bhavat Prasadat Ambojayo Nirasrujat Kila Jiva Dehan Stasnuni Bhuru Hamayani Tata Tirasham Jatim Manushya Nivahanapi Deva Bhedan.
वैकुण्ठवर्धित बलोथ भवत्प्रसादात् अम्भोजयो निरसृजत् किल जीवदेहान् स्तास्नूनि भूरुहमयानि तथा तिरश्चं जातिं मनुष्य निवहानापि देवभेदान्. Is it stas? I forgot what you said.
Tasnuni.
It is stas. Is it correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Oh,
once more. Sorry.
Yeah.
वैकुण्ठवर्धित बलोथ भवत्प्रसादात् अम्बोजयो निरसृजत् किल जीवदेहान् स्तास्नूनि भूरुहमयानि तथा तिरश्चां जातिं मनुष्य निवहानपि देवभेदान्.
वैकुण्ठवर्धित पलोथ पवत् प्रसादात् अम्बोजयो निरस्यजत् किल जीवदेहान् स्तास्नूनि भूरुहमयानि तथा निरश्चां जातिर्मनुष्य निवहानपि देवभेदान्.
Sudhaji, that third line, last word, Tirashcham, im, and then the 4th line, first word is Jatim. I think some books have Jatir. If you have ir, change it to a im. Jatim Manushyanivah.
Thank you. वैकुण्ठवर्धित बलोथ भवत् प्रसादात् अम्बोजयो निरस्यजत् किल जीवदेहान् स्तास्नूनि भूरुहमयानि तथा तिरश्चां जातिं मनुष्य निवहानपि देवभेदान्.
Answer 2. Mityagrahasmi matiraga vikopabhitihi Ajnanavrittimiti panchavidam chasrishtva Uddamatamasa padartha vidhana dhunah Tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai. So before Brahma could go have these beings start coming, there are certain things he had to make sure. One of it is he had to make sure that the beings who come out do not understand their true identity. And what I mean by that is, the moment you are born, you come out and you are like, I know I am same as the Paramatma. There's no difference between me and Paramatma. Imagine you come to the realization the moment you come out and you're born. Then you won't live your life because you already know you're no different than the Paramatma, right? Then there is no life that can happen. So the first thing he has to bring is, he has to bring the concept of ignorance. So the beings who first come consider themselves as different from the Paramatma. And then the journey that they have to go through is to realize that they are one with the Paramatma. Because once the moment they realize you're one with the Paramatma, you're no different. Then you are just already merging into the Lord. So he has to first create that concept of ignorance, which needs to be there, because without that ignorance, none of us would be alive right now doing things, because we'd have all just merged into the Lord, right? So for every being that's going to come, by default, when they come out, they have a feeling that they are different. And then through the process of meditation and all that, they eventually undergo liberation, which is going to come only, they have to take that attempt, right? So that is the first thing that Brahma gets, that concept of ignorance which is coming. The second is, while the soul is deathless, the soul is permanent, we all have this concept called as death, right? So he has to make sure those things are there, because otherwise people will live infinitely, right? So he has to get the fear of death, he has to get that ignorance, he has to get the all of these. That's why it says Panchavedam. He gets the various things like attachment, anger, fear, ego, individuality. He talks about the 5 things. He has to create all these basic things which are necessary so that beings can come, and then they will have to go through a journey. When he creates all this, first the concept he has to create, so that when beings come, they automatically understand that. He then feels, what kind of a job am I doing? Brahma doesn't have that contentment from doing this, but he knows these are things I need to do, because like if you remember, one of the first prayer Brahma did to Narayana was to say, you help me understand the concept of duality and understand the concept of non-duality. So what he's talking about is the concept of duality, of feeling that you're different from the Lord. So all the beings need to have that, but he understands the concept of non-duality. Brahma does. That's why he's not bound by it. So anyway, so once he does it, he's not happy with what he has gone through. So he again does a mindset of purification for himself before he actually starts creating the first set of beings. So Mithya Grahasmi Mathi Raga Vikopa Bhitihi. So put a visarga and comma there at the end of that line. Next line, the Ra becomes A. Ajnana Vrittimiti. Ajnana is lack of knowledge or ignorance. Ajnana Vrittimiti Panchavidam Sa Srishtva. Uddama Tamasa Padartha Vidhana Dhunaha. Put a visarga and comma there. Dhunaha. Next line, the is goes away. Tene Tvadiya Charana Smaranam Vishuddhyai. Mithya Grahasmi Matiraga Vikopa Bhitihi Ajnana Vrittimiti Panchavidam Sasrishtva Uddama Tamasa Padartha Vidhana Dhunaha Tene Tvadiya Charana Smaranam Vishuddhyai.
Mithya grahasmi mati raga vikopa bhitihi ajnana vrittimiti panchavidam sasrishtva uddama tamasa padartha vidhana dhunaha tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai. Mithya grahasmi mati raga vikopa bhitihi ajnana vrittimiti panchavidam sasrishtva Uttama tamasa padartha vidhana dhunaha tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai.
Mithyagrahasmi smimadi-raga vikopabhitihi ajnanavrittimiti panchavidham sasrishtva uddhama tamasa padartha vidhana dhunaha tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai. Mithyagrahasmi madiraga vikopabhitihi ajnanavrittimiti panchavidham sasrishtva uddama tamasa padartha vidhana dhunaha tene tvadiya charana smaranam vishuddhyai.
Answer 3. Tavat sasarja manasa sanakam sanandham bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jagruhur navani. So next, so when you create all this ignorance, ego, anger, so that the beings can be there and they see themselves different from the Lord, you then also have to give them a path to get back to the Lord, right? Otherwise, then how will they get back to liberation? So Brahma also had to create these various ways. So that's where the concept of the Sankhya philosophy, which we're going to see in the Kapilavataram in 14 and 15, that comes. And then he talks about, the concept of yoga and how you can merge with the Lord through yoga, the austerity, tapas that Brahma has. So all of that also, Brahma is the one who's giving them the tools. So he's giving the problem. He's also giving the solutions through which you can actually eliminate those problems. Then the first set of beings who come out of Brahma are Sanaka, first they come from his mind of Brahma, right? Brahma is visualizing or imagining, and from his mind these beings come out, are Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. So they are the first set of beings who actually come out of Brahma. And of course, Brahma's role is what? Brahma's role is to create. So he has to delegate, right? So when the first set of these beings come, Brahma then gives them all the knowledge required. Whatever knowledge he has of the world, about the Lord, he gives them to Sanat Kumara and Sananda and Sanat Kumara, and says that I want you to get all this knowledge, and I want you to do meditation, tapas, and then I want you to expand this creation for me. But when these four, all of them together are called as Sanat Kumaras, as one group, right? So the Sanat Kumaras, when they start meditating and they do tapas for a really long time, they come out of it and say that, I use the word father, although father is not the right word here. They say that, father, like, we don't want to do any process of creation, because we are so in love with the Lord, we are so in love with wanting to be one with the Lord, that we want to be permanently there thinking about the Lord, and not go get involved in all these karmic activities, right? So Brahma cannot say anything, because he created these beings and he wants them to go do things. But if they had just said no, Brahma could have gotten upset or angry at them. But what they are saying is, we are not doing it, but we're going to be praying to the Lord all the time, Narayana all the time. So Brahma cannot say no to that, right? Because he knows that is the right thing to do. So these people already, although they were born with ignorance, they quickly realized it through the process of meditation that they're no different than the Lord. And they said, we will not partake in the creation process, and we are always going to be praying to the Lord. That's why the Sanat Kumaras are always young as in, like, they don't have any, they're all spiritual beings, so they don't necessarily have like an age or anything, but they always appear as young beings who never age, and who are always, the only purpose of their existence is to go around and talk about the Lord and to always be praying to Bhagavan. That's their whole purpose. That's what is happening here. So Jagruhur Navani, they're not listening to what Brahma is instructing them to do. So Tavat Sasarja Manasa Sanakam Sanandham, Bhuyaha, put is Bhuyas Sanatana Munim Cha Sanat Kumaram Te Srishti Karmani Tutena Niyujya Manaha. So put a visarga there, Manaha, comma. Next line is goes away. Tvat Pada Bhakti Rasika Jagruhur Na Bani. Tavat Sasarja Manasa Sanakam Sanandham Bhuyas Sanatana Munim Cha Sanat Kumaram Te Srishti Karmani Tutena Niyujyamanaha Tvatpada Bhakti Rasika Jagruhur Navani.
Tavat sasajja manasa sanakam sanantam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jagruhur navani. Tavat sasarja manasa sanakam sanantam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatta bhakti rasika jagruhur navani.
Tavat sasarja manasa sanagam sanandam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jaguhur navanim.
Jagruhur Navani.
Thank you. Tavat sasarja manasa sanagam sanandam bhuyas sanatana munim cha sanat kumaram te srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha tvatpada bhakti rasika jagrhurnavanim.
Vani, long E there, okay. The last word.
Vanim.
Stanza 4.
ராஜேஷ், சாரி டு இன்டரப்ட். என்னோட தேர்ட் லைன்ல கர்மனிக்கு அப்புறம் நிஜமான அப்படிதான் இருக்கு.
Oh, you had to put
கர்மனிக்கு அப்புறம்
tu tena, short u, tu tena, srishti karmani tu tena niyujyamanaha. Okay,
thank
we just add that. Stanza 4. Tavat prakopamuditam pratirundatosya bhrumatyeto janimrido bhavade kadeshah namani me kurupadani chaha virinchet yadav ruroda kilatena sarudra nama. So then Brahma gets frustrated, right? I wouldn't use the word angry, because Brahma, like a being like Brahma whose number not directly come from the Lord, he cannot get angry. But he gets frustrated because he creates these poor beings and they refuse to do what he wants them to do. But he can't complain also, because what they're doing is the right thing, but doesn't help Brahma. So from the frustration which Brahma was having, which they loosely refer to as anger, is from the middle of his eyebrows, from middle of Brahma. So Mrido, from the Bhrumat Yatojani, from the middle of his eyebrows emerges another being. This being is blue and red in color, which is showing a lot of passion and a lot of anger, the being which comes out. So because he is coming from the middle of the eyebrows of Brahma, is called Mrida. That's the name of the being which comes out. And Bhattacharya says this Mrida, although he comes out with a lot of passion and a lot of anger, he's also your incarnation, oh Lord. He's no different than you, because anybody who's coming from Brahma is also coming because of the energy of the Lord. So anyway, this Mrida is coming. So this Mrida comes and says, okay, you created me, I'm ready to help you, right? Because that's what Brahma's desire, right? That Brahma's desire is taking the shape of Mrida. So the Mrida knows what Brahma wants. So he says, okay, I'll help you out. I tell me what I'm supposed to do. I need all the things. I need a place, I need a name, I need all of that. Because that Mrida cried, asking for things. Cried as not necessarily crying, but because he earned and asked for things, he's called as a Rudra. That's so that because he is like crying, he's earning for help. He's saying, I'm ready. Give me all the things which are required. Give me what is my name? Who's going to be helping me? Where is the place I have, right? Where I can actually go do the creation. So because he's crying for it, his name is called as a Rudra. That's how the word Rudra is coming, right? But first it comes out. So Tavat Prakopam Uditam Pratirundhatosya, and put a plus after Pratirundhatosya, Bhrumat Yatojani. Say it together. Bhrumat Yatojani Mrido Bhavadeka Deshaha Namani Me Kuru Padani Chaha, and then put a plus at the end of that line as well. Virinchet Yadav. That goes together. Virinchet Yadav Ruroda Kila Tenasa Rudra Nama. Tavat Prakopamuditam Pratirundatosya Bhrumatyeto Janimrido Bhavade Kadeshah Namani Me Kurupadani Chaha Virinchet Yadav Ruroda Kilatena Sarudra Nama.
Tavat prakopamuditam pratil undhatosya bhrumadhyato janimrido bhavadekadeshah namani me kurupadani chaha vidinchet rurodakila tena sarudra nama. Tavat prakopamuditam pratil undhatosya bhrumadhyato janimrido bhavadekadeshah Namani me kurupadani chaha vidinchetyaadau ruroda kilatena sarudra nama.
I have a question. So Namani me kuru, the third line. I have Virinje, that Namani through Virinje is in single quotes, and it says Virinje ti adau.
Yeah, I think the Virincheti Adau. So in Sanskrit, when you have ti and a coming next to each other, you don't separate it out. You say tya, unless you are putting a pause there and a comma. So if we were saying Namani me kurupadani chaha virincheti, pause, adau ruro, then it is okay. But because we are saying it together, it becomes tya. So virinchet yadau, it becomes.
Okay. Thank you. Tavat prakopamuditam pradiruntatosya bhrumadyado janimrido bhavadekadeshah. Namani me kuru padani cha chaha virinjeti adauru rurodha kila tena sarudra nama. I'm just reading how it's in my book.
Yeah, I think you may want to make it a thya there and say it together because those two lines will have to flow together.
Okay.
So ha virinchet yadav.
Virinjet yadav.
Correct.
Thank you. Tavat prakopamuditam pradiruntatosya brumatyato janimrudo bhavadekadeshah namani me kuru padani cha havirinjetyadau rurodha kila tena sarudra nama.
Again, that will switch halfway. Radha, you can be a student and
Rajesh, can you chant that idu Virinchet Yadav?
yeah, Virinchet Yadav.
Virinchet Yadav.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And sir, does it end with Rudra Namaha or it's just Rudra Nama?
Rudra Nama sound.
Nama. Okay. Thank you.
Right. So Radha, you can be a student and Ravi, you can be a student.
Yeah. If I get sneezing in between, please excuse me.
No worries.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stanza 5. Ekadashahvayataya cha vibhinna rupam rudram vidaya dayita vanitascha dattva tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadaram tam. So Rudra says, because the Nrida who's coming out is crying and saying, so Brahma says, okay, you'll have the name Rudra because you're crying and asking. Now, to help you out, Brahma says, I'm going to give you 11 regions or planets or whatever, 11 areas where you're going to go do the process of creation. And he says, you're going to have 11 Rudras who are going to be part of you. So this one Rudra becomes 11 Rudras. And then he says, for each of those Rudras, I will also have a person who's going to help you, called as a Rudrani, who is going to help you out as well. So that's what the 11 Rudras and 11 Rudranis are there, and they get 11 regions to say, now Brahma says, with my blessings, you go start the process of creation. You have full freedom, and Brahma gives Rudra all the knowledge also which is required to start the process of creation. So ekadashahvayataya, half. So ekadashahvayataya cha vibhinna rupam, rudram vidhaya dayita vanitash cha dattva tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnaha, praha praja virachanaya cha sadaram tam. Ekadashahvayataya cha vibhinna rupam rudram vidhaya dayita vanitascha dattva tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadaram tam.
Ekadashapyayataya cha vibhinna rupam rudram vidaya dayita vanitascha dattva tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadharam tam.
Sadhan, the first time, ekadashah, sound has to come.
Oh, okay. Ekadashayataya cha vibhinna rupam rudram vidhaya dayita vanitascha dattva tavantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadharam tam.
Ekadasah vedaya cha vipinna rupam rudram vidaya dayita vanitascha dattva davantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadarantam. Ekadasah vedaya cha vipinna rupam rudram vidaya dayita vanitascha dattva davantya datta cha padani bhavat pranunnah praha praja virachanaya cha sadarantam.
So I think that first word, then both of you were saying slightly different. Ekadashahvayataya. So half ha and then a va. ekadashahvayataya.
Ekadasahvyataya.
Vayataya, yeah. Va,
Vyataya, yeah.
Vataya.
Ekadasahvyataya, vayataya, right?
Yeah, right. The half ha is there. Va, ya. Three
Yeah,
letters.
yeah. Vaya, okay, got it, yeah.
Answer 6. Rudra Bisrishta Bhayadakriti Rudra Sanga Sampuryamana Bhuvana Trayabhita Chetaha Mama Praja Sujata Paschara Mangalayet Yachashtatam Kamala Bhurbhavadi Ritatma. So the 11 Rudras, the 11 Rudranis, they all start the process of creation. So like I said, they were all, the blue and red here are referring to the passion and the anger, right, that is there from the being. So when they create offsprings, when the population is growing from these Rudras and Rudranis, they are also just like Rudra. They are also like the same blue. They are also filled with passion, filled with anger. And when they also are all very scary looking as well, to the extent that, the Brahma himself was beginning to feel very afraid that I cannot grow the population with beings like this running around everywhere, right? So he then calls Rudra and say, this is not the right way. He says, I think you have to calm down. So he kind of calls Rudras and say, I want you to stop. So Mama Praja, so he says, do not do any more creation. He says, I want you to go do more penance, right? So to go Kamala, Tapaschara. So I want you to go do more penance, and you are not yet ready to continue the process of creation. So he pauses that creation itself because the beings which get created are not appropriate, right? So that's what is happening here. The Kamala Bhurva Brahma, who came from the lotus, told Rudras not to continue the process of creation now, because he was prompted from within. He feels from within that Bhagavan is instructing him, this is not the right way, right? We make mistakes. So Brahma made a mistake, then he realized it, and then now he's trying to he's pivoting from there, right? So Rudra Bisrishta Bhayadakriti Rudra Sangha, and then put a plus, Sampuryamana Bhuvana Traya Bhita Chetaha Ma Prajaha, put a is Prajas Sruja Tapaschara, then again put a plus at the end of this line, and very similar to the stanza 4, Mangalayet Yachashta. So Mangalayeti Achashta becomes Mangalayet Yachashta Tam Kamalabhur Bhavadiritatma. So first two lines together, third and fourth line together. Rudra Bisrishta Bhayadakriti Rudra Sanga Sampuryamana Bhuvana Trayabhita Chetaha Mama Praja Sujata Paschara Mangalayet Yachashtatam Kamala Bhurbhavadi Ritatma.
रुद्राभिसृष्टभयदाकृति रुद्रसङ्गसम्पूर्णमाणा भुवनत्रयभीतचेताः मामा प्रजाः सुजतपश्चरमङ्गलायेत्याचष्टतं कमलभूर्भुवदीप्तात्मा.
Rather, third line, Prajaha, the Visarga Bal is sound. Prajas Sruja.
Other is.
Yeah, is sound. Prajas Sruja.
रुद्राभिसृष्टभयदाकृति रुद्रसङ्गसम्पूर्णमाण भुवनत्रय भीतचेताः मामा प्रजा सृजतपश्चरमङ्गलायेत्याचष्टतं कमलभूर्भुव दीरितात्मा.
Second line, first word, Sampurya. I think you said Sampurna.
Sampuryaman.
Correct. Yeah.
இது லாஸ்ட் லைன்ல கமலபூர்புவதீர், அது ஒரே வேர்ட் இல்லையா?
அது கமலபூஹு. So கமலபூர் பவதீரிதாத்மா.
அங்க ஸ்பிளிட் இல்ல.
அங்க ஸ்பிளிட் பண்ணனது சந்தி இஸ் கமலபூஹு பவத் ஈரிதாத்மா are the three words, but you can't split it, quite say it that way. It's bhavat and iritatma becomes bhavadiritatma, and kamalabhur bhavadiritatma. Ir is the joint in the
Rudra Visrishta Bhavadagridi Rudra Sanka Sampuryamana Bhuvanatraya Bhita Seda Mama Praja Sruja Tabashara Mangalayet Yasashtatam Kamalabhur Bhavadiridatma. Rudra Visretta Bhayadagri Rudra Sanka Sampuryaman Bhuvanatra Bida Seda Mama Prajasruja Tabashara Mankala Yetyasastatam Kamalabhut Bhavadiri Datma.
That's all 7. Tasyata sargaratikasya marichiratrihi tatrangirah kratmunif pulahaf pulastyah angada jayata bhriguscha vasishta dakshau shrinaradascha bhagavan bhavadangridasah. So then after Brahma paused the Rudras for creation, then from the body of Brahma, from various parts of the body of Brahma come various beings. So 10 people come, or beings come. So one is, and you can follow it in the text itself here, Marichi, Marichir Atrihi, Marichihi Atrihi. So Marichi Atri, Tatra Angiraha, so Angiras, Kratumuni, Pulaha, Pulastyaha, 6. Then Angada Jayata, Briguscha, Brigu, Vasishta, Dakshau, 9. And Sri Naradascha Bhagavan, then Sri Narada himself, whose whole purpose, the word Narada itself is kind of broken down into two things. One is Nara and Da. Nara is referring to the Lord Narayana's name itself, and Da is the one who can deliver it to you. So if you want to reach Narayana, the best person to deliver Lord Narayana to you is Narada. Right? That's been his sole purpose in his whole existence, has been to get beings closer to Narayana, right? So anyway, so Bhavadangri Dasaha, this Narayana who is always devoted to your feet, right? So anyway, there's a big story about Narada in Bhagavatam, which is not covered here, but anyway, so he's always focused on you. So that Narada, so all these 10 beings come about, right? And like I said, each of these beings come from each part of Brahma, not mentioned here, but the main thing, which is Narada, is coming from the consciousness of Brahma. That's the main thing to remember. So anyway, so these are the 10 beings who have now come, right? And later on, now they will just start doing things. So next time when you reference these beings, you know that they have already come, right? So they are now in existence. And then from now on, it'll continue. So tasyata sarga rasikasya marichiratrihi. Put a visarga there in comma. Marichiratrihi. Next line, that is goes away. Tatrangiraha is there. Put a ih sound to join. Tatrangirah. Kratu munihi. Put a f to join. Pulahaha. Put a f to join. Pulahaf. Pulastyaha. Angada jayata briguscha vasishtha dakshau, comma. Sri Naradascha Bhagavan. Okay, not Bhagavan there. Bhagavan Bhavadangri Dasaha. Tasyata sargarasikasya marichiratrihi tatrangirah kratumunih pulahaf pulastyah angada jayata bhriguscha vasishtha dakshau Sri Naradascha Bhagavan Bhavadangri Dasaha.
तस्यात सर्गरसिकस्य मरीचिरत्रिः तत्राङ्घ्रिरः क्रतुमुनिः पुलः पुलस्य अङ्गादजायत भृगुश्च वसिष्ठदक्षौ श्रीनारदश्च भगवन् भवदङ्घ्रिदासः तस्याथ सर्गरसिकस्य मरीचिरत्रिः तत्राङ्घ्रिरः क्रतुमुनिः पुलः पुलस्य अंगादजायत भृगुश्च वसिष्ठदक्षौ श्रीनारदश्च भगवन् भवदङ्घ्रिदासः
तस्याद सर्गसिगस्य मरीषिरद्विः तत्राङ्गिरः क्रतुमुनिः पुलस्त्यः अंगादजायत भृगश्च वसिष्ठदक्षौ श्रीनारदश्च भगवन् भवदङ्घ्रिदासः तस्यादसर्गसिगस्य मरीषिरद्रिः तत्राङ्किरः क्रतुमुनिः पुलस्त्यः अंगादजायत भृगश्च वसिष्ठदक्षौ श्रीनारदश्च भगवन् भवदङ्घ्रिदासः.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Please. Whether we say Bhagavan or Bhagavan, Does it make a big difference in the
does.
meaning?
It does, because the Bhagavan, so the root word is Bhag, which is prosperity. That's the root word for all of these things, okay? And Bhagavat is like one who is prosperous, right? Now, when you say Bhagavan, it's a subject. So it's like saying Bhagavan did this, right? So when you're using that as a subject, it is Bhagavan. When it is used as O Lord, okay, when you're using it in that context, it becomes Bhagavan. Okay, so he says, oh Lord, then Narada, or it says Narada, who then came, he's such a devotee of you, oh Lord, right? So, but if you make it Bhagavan, then it completely flips the meaning, because then Bhagavan is Bhavadangri Rasaha. Bhagavan, you are your own, you are Bhavadangri Rasaha. You yourself are the disciple of your own feet, it will become. So it'll completely flip the meaning. So that's why this Bhagavan, that's why I emphasized it's not Bhagavan, then it's Bhagavan. Because it's like anytime it's like, oh Lord, it's like, oh hey Rama. Rama means that's used as a subject, right? So hey Ram, you need like that you say. So it's way Bhagavan it comes. By default, anyway in Sanskrit, that's the advantage. You can put that Bhagavan anywhere in the entire thing. And you know it is referring to oh Lord. Even if you put it in the first, it doesn't become a subject. You put it in the end, it doesn't become an object. Depending on what word you're using, it will have a specific meaning for what it is. Okay.
Thank you.
Same thing, I always also correct for all of you, who either do, like the Namastasya Narayani Namostute, people who chant that. It's again not Narayani Namostute, because again, the moment you say Narayani Devi, it becomes a subject. Okay, so when you say Narayani Namostute, means Narayani is doing Namaha to herself. It is Narayani Namostute. So, oh Narayani, my salutations to you, right? So be very careful on those things. Wherever the E is coming in Sanskrit, the long E and the short E have completely different meanings. It makes it a subject or an object. Okay, so in that case, so that's another common thing that happens.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that question. Thank you. That's a clarification.
Thanks. Stanza 8. Dharmadikana visrujannata kardamam cha vani vidhaya vidirangaj sankulo bhut twadbodhitai sanaka daksha mukhais tanujaihi udbodhitascha virarama tamo vimunchan. So then after these 10, so Sanaka, Sananda, 4 of them came. Rudra came, Sanaka, Sananda came. And the 10 other beings we saw, the sages come next after that. So next people who are coming are sage Kardama Prajapati. And we're going to see about Kardama Prajapati later, because Kapilopakyanam and great Avataram is going to come. So where we're going to see about Kardama. And then also Dharmadeva is coming out of Brahma. So all of them are coming. Next to the third person, one person who's going to come, little bit controversial here, but I will only tell what is written. Okay, so I don't want to interpret too deep into it. Is Vak, the Devi comes, Saraswati comes, right? Now there are 2 stories related to that. One of them is because they are all coming from Brahma, right? So you're loosely referring to them as son and daughter. But like I said, you cannot literally take it as son and daughter like we think of it, right? Because the way we generate population is different, right? How Brahma, they're coming from the various, Brahma thinks about them or comes from the various parts of Brahma, these beings are coming. So Vak is coming, who's considered like a daughter, but not necessarily a daughter. So Brahma then wants to, the population is not advancing, right? So one story goes that Brahma then falls in love with Vak and wants to then generate population through Brahma and Vak. That is one story that is coming. The second interpretation of that, you could think of it as Vak here could also refers to the rituals and everything which is there in the Vedas, which Brahma is falling in love with, the rituals, etc. So either way, right, you take either of those dimensions you want to think, right? Whether Brahma is falling in love with Vak herself, or Brahma is falling in love with the Karma Kandas or the Vedas. But the other enlightened beings who are there, Marichi, Atri, who all were there, who had all become enlightened, because Brahma is passing on all this knowledge to all of those beings as well. So they are coming and stopping Brahma and saying, this is not the right thing for you to do, right? You cannot be falling in love, no matter which. Either you take it as Vak, literally as Saraswati, or you take it as the Karma Khandas or the Vedas. The Marichi and Atri, Narada, everybody come and say, Brahma, that is not the right thing for you to do. And it is very inappropriate for you to be thinking about it, and you should not do that. So what Brahma does, and some of it comes a little later, but doesn't matter. Brahma gives off his body. Because the thing is, when you commit a sin, or when you think you committed a sin, you want to clean yourself up. And one way to clean yourself up is to get rid of your body. And Brahma can do that at his will, right? So whatever body Brahma is having, spiritual body, he gives off that body. Because he says, yeah, I've committed an offense, I've committed a mistake. And then Brahma gives off his body and gets a new body next. So anyway, that's what is happening here. So dharmadikan abhisrijannata, if you want to break it. Dharmadikan abhisrijannata kardamam cha, vanim vidhaya vidirangaja sankulo bhut tvat bodhitais sanaka daksha mukhais tanujaihi. Put a visarga comma. Next line, the ru becomes a u. Udbodhitascha virarama tamo vimunchan. Dharmadikan abhisrijannata kardhamam cha vani vidhaya vidirangaja sankulo bhut twadbodhitais sanaka daksha mukhais tanujaihi udbodhitascha virarama tamo vimunchan.
Dharmadikan abhisrujannata kardamam cha vanim vidhaya vidirangaja sankulo bhut tvatpoditais sanakadaksha mukais tanujaihi utpoditascha virarama tamo vimunchan. Dharmadikan abhisrujannata kardamam cha vanim vidhaya vidirangaja sankulo bhut Tvatpoditais sanakadaksha mukhaistanujaihi udpotitascha virarama tamo vimunchan.
Dharmadikan abhisrujannata kartamam cha vanim vidaya vidirangaja sangulo bhut tvatpodidai sanagadaksha mugaisthanujaihi udbodhidaksha viraramadamo vimunchan. Dharmadikan abhisrujannata kartamam cha vanim vidaya vidirangaja sankulo bhut tvatpodidai sanagadaksha mugaisthanujaihi udbodhidaksha viraramadamo vimunchan.
That's a nice. Vedan Purana Nivahanapi Sarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Gana Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Teshu Vinidhaya Sasarga Vriddhim Aprapnuvam Stava Padam Bhujamashrito Bhut. So in a lot of scenarios, situations, right? Even in Bhagavatam, what happens is big Brahma, Narada, all these people, they all know there's no concept of time in the sense of past, present, and future for them. They can see everything which has happened in the past. They can see everything that's going to happen in the future, right? And there are going to be specific instances where, and we'll see it further down also, where Narada comes when Lord Krishna is born. No, not when Krishna is born. Later on, when Narada comes to visit Krishna, he prays to Krishna, right? And when he prays to Krishna, he tells everything that Krishna is going to be doing in the future to Krishna himself as a prayer, right? So in the sense, Narada already knows what's going to be happening in Krishna Avataram later on. So similarly, Brahma also, Narada, of course, is getting his knowledge from Brahma. So Brahma also knows everything that's going to be coming. So what Brahma does is he teaches first, he gives, so it says, from his mouth came all this, or essentially, which means he's teaching. So he's teaching the Vedas and the Puranas of what's going to be happening in the future to all of his children. By children, I said beings who came from him. So Asha, Sanat Kumara, all of them, as well as the Daksha, everybody, he's teaching them all the Vedas and all the knowledge which is actually required. And then, so that's the first thing that is happening. And then Brahma is stuck right now because the population creation is not advancing at the rate that Brahma wants it to, right? And he's also not able to step himself and do it, right? That's we tried to do previously. So now he's stuck. So anytime, like I said, Brahma is like, he again meditates on the Lord as to what do I do now? How do I drive the population up, right? So that's where it's ending. And then next stanza, it will continue how he does it. So Vedan Purana Nivahanapi Sarva Vidyaha, comma, Kurvan Nijanana Ganach Chaturana Nosau. Chaturana is four-faced. Chaturana Nosau. Putreshu Teshu Vinidhaya Sa Sarga Vriddhim. Put a im at the end of that line. Sarga Vriddhim, comma. Next line, the ma becomes a. Aprapnuvams Tava Padambhujam Ashrito Bhut, if you want to break it. Padambhujam Ashrito Bhut. Vedan Purana Nivahana Pisarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Gana Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Teshu Vinidaya Sasarga Vriddhim Aprapnuvam Stava Padambhujam Ashrito Bhut.
Vedan Purana Nivahanapi Sarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Ganan Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Teshu Vinidhaya Sarga Vriddhim Aprapnuvam Stava Padambhujamashrito Bhut. Vedan Purana Nivahanapi Sarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Gana Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Teshu Vinidhaya Sarga Vriddhim Aprapnuvam Stava Padambhujamashrito Bhut.
The second line, first word, Kurvan.
Kurvan.
Yeah.
Bhut and solunma illa bhut apdiya.
Bhut, long u.
Alle last line le.
And the last.
Padambhujamashra.
Ashrito Bhut, long u.
Bhut.
Vedan Purana Nivahana Bi Sarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Ganat Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Deshu Vinidaya Sasarga Vriddhim Aprapnuvam Stava Padambhujamasrido Bhut. Vedan Purana Nivahana Bi Sarva Vidyaha Kurvan Nijanana Ganat Chaturana Nosau Putreshu Deshu Vinidaya Sasarga Vriddhim Apranuvam Stava Padambhujamashrido Bhut.
Ravi, last line, aprapnu, ip sound, aprapnuvam.
Aprapnuvam Stava Padambhujamashrido Bhut.
That's it. Janan nupayamata deham ajo vibhajya stri pumsabhavam abhajan manutat vadhubhyam tabhyam cha manushakulani vivardayam stvam govindamaruta puresha nirundhirogan. So then, like we said, after Brahma gave up his body, and then Brahma got up a new body, then after meditation, then out of Brahma comes two beings, where one is male, one is female. So, and they are coming from the body of Brahma only, right? They are also kind of part of Brahma. So the first one who comes is the first Manu. If you remember, I explained to you, one day of Brahma Kalpa divided into 1000 Chaturyugas, ruled by 14 Manus, right? And we are right now in the 7th Manu with the Vaivasvata Manu. So this is the first Manu who is coming out. He is called a Swayambhuva Manu. That is the first Manu, because Swayambhu is coming from the body of Brahma itself, right? So that Swayambhuva Manu, and then the female who comes is called a Shatarupa. So this male and a female version come from Brahma himself, because Brahma doesn't want to engage in the acts anymore. So he then creates Manu and Shatarupa, and for them, and they then begin the process of, then that's when the population is now going to explode from here on, right? So to this Manu and Shatarupa are born 5 children. One is Priyavrata, Uttanapada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And we're going to see each of the lineage of Uttanapada, Priyavrata, and what happens to that. All of the Dhruva Charitram, everything is going to come, because they're all going to be coming from one of these people, right? So we'll see all of that in the future chapters, right? So that this is the setting of the base. So now Manu is there, Shatarupa is there, they have 5 children. And the rest of the stories, everything that's going to come is going to be coming from one of these people's hierarchy, right? Ancestry. That's how it's going to follow. So with that, this Dasakam comes to an end. Govinda Maruta Puresha Nirundi Rogan. Please eradicate my ailments. Janan Nupaya Mata. You can say it together. It's easy. Janan Nupaya Mata. Deha Majo Bibajya, comma. Stri Pumsa Bhavama Bhajan Manu Tad Vadubhyam. Tabhyam cha Manusha Kulani Vivardayamstvam, comma. Govinda Maruta Puresha Nirundi Rogan. Janan Nupaya Mata Deha Majo Vibhajya Stri Pumsa Bhavama Bhajan Manutad Vadubhyam Tabhyam cha Manusha Kulani Vivardayamstvam Govinda Maruta Puresha Nirundi Rogan.
Rajeshri, I heard it as 3. Is it Shri?
Which one?
The second line.
Stri.
Oh, it is 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tri Pumsa Bhavam Abhajan.
Yeah, Bhavam Abhajan, but Bhavam Abhajan. You can say it together.
Aprima next letter.
Manu Tad Vadubhyam.
Manu. Okay. Janun Napayamata Dehamajo Vibhajya Stri Pumsa Bhavam Abhajan Manu Dvam Jab
Manu Tad Vadubhyam. Vadu is the wife.
Bhumyam Tabhyam cha Manushakulani Vidarbhayam Stvam Govinda Maruta Pureshu Nirundi Rogan Janun Napayamata Dehamajo Vibhajya Stri Pumsa Bhavam Abhajan Manutadvabhyam
Manu Tad Vadubhyam.
Manutattvadubhyam Tabhyam cha Manushakulani Vidarbhayam Stvam Govinda Maruta Pureshu Nirundi Rogan.
Third line, last word. Vivardhayam Stvam.
Vivardhayam Stvam.
No, not Dwa. Vivardhayam Stvam.
Vivardhayam Stvam.
Correct, yes.
Janan Uvaya Mata Deha Majo Vivajya Sribum Sabhavam Abhajan Manusatpadopyam Dapyam Samanusha Kulani Vivartyam Swam Govinda Maruta Puresha Nirunti Rogan Janan Ubaya Mata Deha Majo Vivajya Sribum Sabhavam Abhajan Manusatpadopyam Dapyam cha Manusha Kulane Vivartyam Swam Govinda Maruta Puresa Nirunti Rogan.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Okay, we'll end the class here today. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam Kaladeshavadibhyam Nirmuktam Nityamuktam Nigamashata Sahasrena Nirbhasyamanam Aspashtam Drishtamatre Punarurupurusharthatmakam Brahmatattvam Tattavad Sakshat Guru Pavanapure Hanta Bhagyam Jananam Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va prajute swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanahi samarpayami.
Rajesh, ஒரு quick request வந்து எல்லாருக்கும் வந்து கிரேஸ் லேக்ல வந்து January 1st 3 o'clock வந்து பாலாஜியோட பூலங்கி சேவா is there. So I request everyone to come and join that. முன்னே யாரால முடியுமோ. Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, bye everyone. Have a happy new year. Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Happy New Year, Rajesh. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.